Miten selittäisit teoksianne? Miksi olette maalannut sotaa ja köyhyyttä? Ei soveliaita aiheita naistaiteilijalle.
Kun taiteilija työskentelee, hän ei koskaan ajattele teoksensa selittämistä. Inspiraatio tulee samanaikaisesti sekä sisältä että taiteilijan yli. Enkä myöskään pidä siitä, että minut leimataan juuri naistaiteilijaksi.
Te olette lahjoilla siunattu taiteilija. Me pidämme Heinarin kanssa huolen siitä, että myös muut tulevat jälleen ymmärtämään sen.
Haluaisin pitää tämän miehen kokonaan. Kuin hammasharjan. Vain minun. Kun hän palaa, paljastan itseni. Älä puutu asioihin enää. Uskotko, kun sanon, että tuhoan sinut, jos teet niin? Uskotko? As so many Finns, I had loved the work of Helene Schjerfbeck since I was a child. So when Antti offered me the part, I was very, very honored and very scared at the same time. And as so many Finns, I had an image of Helene Schjerfbeck, and that image was an image of a very fragile, even weak, shy, modest woman. But when I started to read about her, to study her, I found a completely different a person behind the image. I found a woman who was truly very passionate, had a very high ambition, was very intelligent, curious, sarcastic, would never compromise her art. She was very brave. She didn't care too much what other people thought about her. And I realized that no one, especially a woman living that time of period, could have achieved what she did without being a very strong person. And preparing for the part was very, very special for me. Also because the last time I had held a brush in my hand was more than 20 years before. When I was a child, I kind of felt like I couldn't paint, I couldn't draw, so I didn't like it, and I decided I'm never going to do it again. I refused to draw with my 4-year-old child, but now I had no choice. And I got to work with this incredible Finnish artist called Anna Retulainen for 6 months before starting to shoot. And the couple of first meetings we just talked, because I think Anna realized that I was so scared of really kind of taking the brush in my hand and starting to paint. But she was very soft and very clever with me, and kind of little by little we started doing the little works, and she taught me how to hold the brush, how to mix paints, mix colors, how to watch at the painting, and she taught me how to be not afraid of making mistakes, how to be brave and spontaneous. And during those 6 months, I really actually fell in love with painting and with creating with colors, and it was very liberating for me. And yeah, and also then shooting the film was another unforgettable 6 months. So I really feel so grateful for this part and for everything I got to learn.
Hello, I'm Antti Jokinen. I am the writer and the director of the film Helene, and I'm giving you a short director statement for sales purposes. I was introduced to Helene Schjerfbeck when I was a rather young kid by my mother, because she was one of the cultural secretaries in Finland, and she took me into museums and art shows and theater since I was as young as I can remember. And all the way from the kind of those years from 10 to 12, I somehow created this very passionate relationship with Helene Schjerfbeck's paintings. There's something about her art that touched me very deeply, especially those self-portraits that she did towards the end of her career. And then when I started to read about her, she kind of hung with me all the way through from film school and basically all my youth, and now all the way to the adulthood. I don't know what touched in her paintings so much me that I always remember her with, you know, kind of like all the other waves of my life went from different music to different films and all these things, but her art stayed with me. And after the reasonable success of Birch and The Midwife and Flowers of Evil, I wanted to make a film that I was truly very strongly passionate about, and that's why I decided that I will make a film about Helene Schjerfbeck. Obviously, she was a genius, but there are a lot of geniuses and brilliant people on the planet, and I have done a lot of research on many people, and always kind of behind the brilliance there has been not that many interesting things. I think the art has been itself rather interesting, but the persons have been kind of, you know, mechanical, or they have been in a way that I thought that there's not enough for a movie. And then when I started researching again Helene Schjerfbeck and started the letters that she wrote, I went to the museums and started to do research on the paintings. I actually found a more interesting person behind the kind of the cult person, and for Finnish people, that her real life was even more interesting that most of these brilliant, talented artists on the planet have. And I didn't want to make a Wikipedia movie that just historical aspects would go one after another, the events of her life, even though she had a really interesting life. But I wanted to kind of pinpoint a very short period, and this is when the story came together. I found Rakel Liehu's book that was actually written in a poem versions of it, so it wasn't a novel, but there was a very, very small section of it, and that had to do with Einar Reuter, who was a very good friend of hers, and they had a deep relationship together, and it was kind of the new start, because Helen had been abandoned by the Finnish art circles because she painted war and poor people and topics that women could not do in the early, in 1950s and so on and so forth. And Einar Reuter and Costa Stenman kind of found her during that time and brought her back up by having this big show. That's where the movie starts, and there is a very special relationship with Einar Reuter that we are exploring in this film. And obviously she kind of found her new glory into painting as well, and she started to make some of her most brilliant work actually during the film and then the end of it. And when I found that out, I kind of found the passion for actually not the passion, but the reason and the motivation to make this film. And I hope you enjoy it. I can say for 100% that it was made out of love, and it's a topic, like I said, that I have in the childhood. So I'm very lucky that I had the chance to make it. Thank you very much. Ciao.